in this class. Now here on the screen you are watching a peculiar picture, and undoubtedly it was the picture of sunset, now evening time. And yes, this is the picture of ocean where boat is being sailed. Now, can you guess the title of the poem that I am going to teach you from the English book of grade 9? Yes, the name of the poem is Crossing the Bar. Now here, what does the picture show? I described a little bit before. That picture shows that there is a sea where a boat is being sailed and the time is twilight, sunset. Where is the pilot leading the voyagers? Only we can guess up to now. After finishing, we will say its complete answer. Yes, my dear student, can you say the name of the picture here? Now he is Alfred Lord Tennyson, British poet and poet laureate of Great Britain and Ireland, 1809 and 1992. Here, born August 6, 1809 and died October 6, 1892. And you can study more and more about the poet from different sources. Now, background of the poem. Crossing the Bar is an 1889 poem by Alfred Lord Tennyson. It is considered that Tennyson wrote it in elegy. The narrator uses an extended metaphor to compare death with crossing the sandbar between the river of life with its outgoing flood and the ocean that lies beyond death, the boundless deep to which we return. Tennyson is believed to have written the poem after suffering a serious illness while on the sea, crossing the Solent from Aldworth to Farringford on the Isles of Wight. Separately, it has been suggested he may have written it on a yacht anchored in Salcombe Bay, where there is a morning sandbar. The word, he said, came in a moment shortly before he died. Tennyson told his son Hallam to put crossing the bar at the end of all edition of my poem. So it was published in 1993. The poem contains 4 stanzas that generally alternate between long and short line. Tennyson employs a traditional AB-AB rhyme scheme. Scholars have noted that the form of the poem follows the content, the wave-like quality of the long then short lines parallels the narrative thread of the poem. Now, the extended metaphor of crossing the bar represents traveling serenely and securely from life through death. The pilot is a metaphor for God, whom the speaker hopes to meet face to face. Tennyson explained the poet pilot has been on board all the while, but in the dark I have not seen him. He is that divine and unseen who is always guiding us. In August 2018, the writer B.S. Newpall died after reading Crossing the Bar on his deathbed in London. His family and friends citing the poem as having always held a great reasonable to him. Now after studying the background of the poem, now here that I told a little bit in the background of the poem that the poet died October 6, 1892, and he wrote the poem in 1889, published in 1893. Do you know why? Because the writer was suffering in 1889 through influenza, no, and he guessed himself to go from the world, and he wished to go, and he started writing the poem Crossing the Bar. That bar is the demarcation line between the earth and the heaven, and that's why here he asked his son not to publish the poem, any poem, after publishing Crossing the Bar. यसले के चाहिँ आफ्नो छोराले हालमले भन्यो कि मेरो चाहिँ नि पोइम सबभन्दा अन्तमा मात्र पब्लिश गर्नु यो क्रसिङ द बार. यो पब्लिश गरिसकेपछि मेरो कुनै पनि पोइम पब्लिश हुनु भएन. त्यसकारण उसको छोराले अब यो 1889 मा लेखेको पोइम जब उसको मृत्यु चाहिँ नि 1892 मा भयो, त्यसको एक वर्षपछि 1893 मा पब्लिश गरेको छ क्रसिङ द बार, जुन हामीले यहाँ हेरिरहेछौँ. ल अब पोइमको हल्का मैले यसमा भन्दैछु. Here you are watching the poet and he wanted to crush the bar. That's why the name of the poem is Crushing the Bar. And you are watching here the bar. And here that is the ocean. And in ocean you also can see there is the pilot, the metaphor, pilot, the God who is here to take him from this world. He is calling him. That's why you can study many and more lines related this poem. यहाँ हामीले के हेर्छौं कि हेर्नु यो पोएमलाई बुझ्नको लागि यो पिक्चर धेरै राम्रो चाहिँ काम गर्छ है त. यहाँ चाहिँ नि यो पोइट यहाँ छ, यो अर्थ हो, यो यसको रेसिडेन्स. अनि यो पोएममा यो क्रसिङ द बार, यो बारलाई क्रस गर्ने कुरा छ. यो भनेको बोर्डर हो, यो लाइफ र डेथको बीचको बोर्डर हो यो है. र यो कविले भन्दै हुनुहुन्छ कि म यो बोर्डरलाई क्रस गर्छु अनि मलाई पाइलटले, गडले लिन आउँछन्. त्यो समुद्रमा जुन तुफान छ त्यो शान्त भएर मलाई लिन आउँछ र अलिकति मलाई चाहिँ अलिकति तकलिफ दिदैन है. म आरामले जान चाहन्छु. यति ठुलो चाहिँ विशाल यो जुन छ फोम छ, यो टाइड छ यो समुद्रको, त्यो शान्त भएर मलाई लिन आउँछ यहाँ र म जान्छु. र जब म यो क्रसिङ गर्छु, यो बारलाई क्रस गर्छु, यो चाहिँ यहाँबाट यहाँ जान्छु भने कसैले, मेरो किन एन्ड किथले, मेरो नाता गोता परिवार छरछिमेकले कसैले पनि रुनु कराउनु हुँदैन, किनभने म खुसीको साथ जान चाहन्छु यताबाट है. त्यसकारण त्यो जुन फेयरवेलको समय हुन्छ, त्यो फेयरवेलको समयमा कसैले पनि रोएर वातावरणलाई नबिगार्नु, खुसीको साथ मलाई यसबाट बिदा गर्नु, जान दिनु है, चाहिँ मर्निङ नगर्नु, यसरी चाहिँ भन्दै हुनुहुन्छ कवि महोदयले. त्यसकारण यसलाई हामी हेर्दाखेरि कवि यहाँबाट यहाँ है, र यो चाहिँ पार गर्न चाहेको छ यो चाहिँ बारलाई, यो क्रसिङ द बार है. अनि यहाँ चाहिँ पाइलट, भगवान, गड यहाँ चाहिँ छन्, यसलाई लिन आएको छ, यसले कल गरिरहेको छ है. साँझ भयो, अब साँझ पर्दैछ, अब घन्टी बज्दैछ, वार्निङ, अब तिम्रो जाने पालो भइसक्यो छ, तिमी हिँड मसँग, म लिन आएको छु. र यसले अपेक्षा गरेछ, आशा गरेछ कि म त्यहाँ जान्छु, मलाई चाहिँ पाइलटले, भगवानले, गडले फेस टु फेस मलाई दर्शन दिन्छ र मलाई लिएर सिधै जान्छ. यसरी हामीले यो पोएमलाई चाहिँ हेर्दा हामीले बुझ्छौँ. यस, लेट मी गो अहेड न. हियर क्रसिङ द बार. Sunset and evening star. Now what happened here? Sunset and evening star. The very first line of this stanza of Crossing the Bar puts the poem in a particular time of day. It is the time of sunset. Here sunset or twilight is the symbol of symbol about the end of life. Evening star here, evening star, no, evening star. No, evening star is in the sky, days gone, and one clear call for me mean he is being called to leave the earth and to go to the heaven. He is being called by God because it is time to go from here. Here the bar represents the line between living and dying. The poem suggests not to cry at death time when the speaker set up for heaven or sea no mourning. Here sea is the symbol of heaven. Traveling at sea is used as a metaphor for the journey from life into death. Now we studied here, no, we studied here sunset, सूर्यास्त को समय, and evening star in the sky, and one clear call from me, and God is calling me clearly, hello, my dear, come, your time is near. No, and many here, many there be no mourning of the bard, and he wanted to suggest his kin and Keith not to mourn, no, of his farewell. And when I put out to sea, जब म जान्छु कोही पनि चाहिँ नि क्राई गर्नु भएन, रोदन गर्नु भएन. But such a tide as moving seems asleep, too full for sound and form, when that which drew from out the boundless deep turns again home. Here this stanza is quaint, peculiar sounding. It describes the current as very minimal, not very powerful, and does so beautifully. It symbolizes that the narrator's journey to the afterlife is a peaceful one. The speaker wanted to die in his sleep. The lack of sound and form indicates the vessel in the deep sea. Turns again home means heaven. No? यहाँ के भनेको छ अझै पनि such a tired as moving seems asleep. त्यो टाइड जुन छ मलाई जुन लिन आउँछ शान्त भएर, टु फुल फर साउन्ड एन्ड फर्म, त्यो शान्त भएर पुरा मलाई चाहिँ तकलिफ दिएर होइन, दुःख दिएर होइन, मलाई यो पनि थाहा नहोस् कि म चाहिँ मरिरहेको छु, एकदम शान्तपूर्वक जान चाहन्छु म. when that which drew from out the boundless deep, जो चाहिँ मलाई तानेर लान्छ बाउन्डलेस डिपमा, एकदम चाहिँ बाउन्डलेस डिप भनेको असीम समुद्रमा. टर्न्स अगेन होम, र फेरि म घर पुग्न चाहन्छु, घर जान चाहन्छु. ट्विलाइट एन्ड इभिनिङ बेल, and after that the dark, and may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. Embark means begin, start, go. No, twilight and evening bell. Here, this indicates time. Twilight, sunset, after sunset, and evening bell. That is the warning before death, of death, and after that the dark. Dark is the time after end of the day. End of the day means end of the life. And may there be no sadness of farewell. And जब मेरो फेयरवेल हुन्छ, बिदा हुन्छ, कोही पनि स्याडनेस भएर नबस्नु. when I embark, जब म जान्छु. Here it is the time of twilight. The speaker's end of life, like twilight, is the end of day. And evening bell means the call or information of the day end. And after the ringing bell, it also the information of end of the day or life. God is calling him. And for thou from out our bound of time and place, the flood may bear me far. I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar. Now again, I am going to say something about the fourth stanza, when the speaker leaves the boundary of the time and place The flood, the sea water takes him far, and there he will see the real pilot of life. Mean God, who carries him for far away when he crushed the bar. यहाँ चाहिँ उहाँले के भन्दै हुनुहुन्छ लर्ड अल्फ्रेड लर्ड टेनिसनले कि जुन छ यो टाइम र समयको जुन चाहिँ एउटा बाउन्ड्री छ है, त्यहाँबाट द फ्लड मे बियर मी फार, यो फ्लड यो जुन बाढी छ जीवनको बाढी त्यसले मलाई लिएर धेरै टाढा जान्छ. आई होप टु सी माई पाइलट फेस टु फेस, र मलाई लाग्छ त्यो पाइलटले मलाई फेस टु फेस भेट्छ त्यहाँ समुद्रमा उहाँ लिन आउनु भएको छ. वेन आई हेभ क्रस द बार, जब म बार क्रस गर्छु न. Here crossing the bar summary, I notice the sunset and evening star in the sky and hear a sound calling for me loud and clear. I hope that the sandbar will not be disturbed when I go out to sea. Instead, I want to be carried out on a tide moving so slowly it seems almost asleep, and which is too swollen to make a sound. That's what I want when I return home to the depth of the great unknown. Twilight comes with the evening veil, which will be followed by darkness. There don't need to be any sad goodbyes when I go. Even though I will be going far from this time and place, floating on the tide of death, I hope to meet God, who has been like my pilot in this journey when I have made it across the bar. Now here, match the word in column A with their meaning in column B. Morning. Here, complaining. Boundless, never-ending, infinite. Twilight, dusk. Embark, go on board. No, thou. Born, no, a boundary, a limit. And crossed. Here, sandbar, return, the evening veil, floating sunset and evening star on a side, sad goodbyes, God. Fill in the gaps with the word phrases given below to complete phrase of the poem. Now, I notice the sunset and evening star in the sky, and hear a sound calling for me loud and clear. I hope that the sandbar will not be disturbed when I go out to sea. Instead, I want to be carried out. Now here it stands on a tide, moving so slowly it seems almost asleep, and which is too swollen to make a sound. That's what I want when I return home to the depth of the great unknown. Twilight comes with the evening bell, which will be followed by darkness. There don't need to be any sad goodbyes. No? Then I go, even though I will be going far from this time and place, and here floating on the tide of depth, I hope to meet God, who has been like my pilot in this journey when I have made it across the bar. And I have written the summary of the poem, and this is the same one. Now here, answer the following questions. Where does the speaker have to go crossing the sandbar? The speaker has to go to the sea crossing the sandbar. Why can't the tide make a huge sound or create a lather? Here the tide can't make a huge sound or create a lather because he wants to move on a tide peacefully. What do the twilight and the evening bell suggest in the poem? The twilight and the evening bell suggest the time to farewell in the poem. Now other, where is the speaker going without accepting sad goodbyes? The speaker is going unknown home without accepting sad goodbyes. Who is the only agent that helps the speaker to go far on his journey? Pilot is the only agent that helps the speaker to go far on his journey. Now here, Does the speaker fear death? Why not? No, the speaker does not fear death because he has hope to meet God. What does the pilot symbolize? The pilot symbolizes the God. Now here, the speaker tries to convey that finally good things remain with him before he sets on ultimate journey to the sea. Sea is taken as something blank, unknown and unpredictable. World after death. Do you believe in life after death? Discuss. When God created the human race, he had a big vision in mind. He placed part of himself within each of us, something called our soul. And since God will always exist, so will we. Our bodies will expire, but our soul will continue on. We wonder about life after death because of what God placed inside of us and because our soul is greater than this finite world. Some people try to ignore God's plan, but it's still there. The Bible sums up what God did and our limited view of it. He has planted eternity in the human heart. But even so, people cannot see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. Our belief in the afterlife doesn't have to be based on a wish. Instead, the proof you are looking for is found in Jesus Christ. After he died, his body was sealed inside a guarded tomb. It remained there for a few days, but then something happened. Jesus came back to life. Hundreds of people saw him alive, and he demonstrated there really is life after death. Not only that, Jesus told us what he would be doing after his death. When Jesus was unfairly sentenced to death, two others were sentenced with him as they hung on their crosses. One of the men said, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus answered him, I assure you, today you will be with me in paradise. Jesus died that day, but we know he went to paradise afterward. You have a soul and it doesn't end with the death of your body. The resurrection of Jesus not only provided evidence of the afterlife, but also offered the opportunity to be with him in paradise. Don't leave any chance of spending forever in hell. Give your life to Jesus and trust your soul to him. Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life. Anyone who believes in me will live even after dying. Now you can write it. And here, heartfelt condolence. This is the example given on our page, no, about that Namgyal Sherpa, and having seen that this is a model, and on the basis of model you can write other one. Look at the picture of a veteran actress who passed away in 24 AD. No, write a message of condolence to her family on behalf of your school. It will be published in a local newspaper. Use the clues given in the box. Now, this is the clue, and on the basis of the clue, you can prepare that condolence. Here, you can carry it, you can copy it by stopping video. Now, thank you today.